Here we go. Hello and welcome to today's edition of At Wise Women Weekdays on YouTube. Please do like, comment and subscribe if you like what we're talking about, and I'll try and remind you again at the end of this session. I'm Claire the Oily Witch, and today I've been lucky enough to be joined by fellow Healing Collective member Arabella Harding, who's going to discuss with me all about mitochondrial energy and all the wizardry and wisdom that she's been gathering over her life cycle to date. We're going to try and squeeze that into half an hour, possibly impossible, but let's have some fun. So, Arabella, introduce yourself.
Hi, thank you, Claire, so much. I feel very honoured to be here and excited to share what I know about, well, what my journey's been about. So I'll give you a little bit of a background. I studied biomedical science at King's College in London many, many years ago. And when I was 19, that's what I was doing. And I always had an interest of nutrition and biology and cells and da-da-da. And then it grew and grew from there. So I then trained with an amazing guy, Dr. Kachira, who is a mitochondria. He is the guy, he spent his life studying mitochondria and cellular energy. And I trained with him as a cellular vitality therapist, which is, you're probably thinking, what's that? So working at a quantum level, at a cellular level, where everything goes on. So if you zoom in to inside the cell, you've got many organelles and you've got the mitochondria. Now, the mitochondria is really where everything is at. So cutting edge medicine has mapped the gene. Well, this is cutting edge medicine because you are looking right at inside the mitochondria, and that's what I'm working with. So the human genome was mapped, and they didn't find any gene that was actually, I forget the year that it was done, in 2000 something, but they didn't find any gene linked to disease. But when they mapped the mitochondrial DNA, that's where they found the link to disease. Wow. So there's been many, so if we go back many years, or many millennium, how many years I don't know to be exact, but you had the prokaryotic cell, a bacterial cell, and the eukaryotic. So that's the cell we've got nowadays that's got all these organelles. And they think that in the beginning of time, the bacterial cell, the prokaryotic, the very basic cell, fused inside to the form part of the eukaryotic cell, and actually is the mitochondrial bit. That is the mitochondria. And that would make sense why many things like antibiotics affect the mitochondria. So why I was drawn to doing this, because I'm always looking at cutting edge medicine. I'm always looking and finding solutions to problems. So I never sort of stop with one thing. I like to delve into many things. That's how my mind works, and always wanting solutions. I have 3 children, and I've wanted to be able to look after their health myself. And that's why I've become, it certainly made me accelerate, shall I say, my learning and curiosity for finding natural solutions for problems. So if you have a child who is unwell, or has a stomach ache, or has something more chronic, maybe like asthma or autoimmune things, whatever it is, that has driven me to finding these solutions. So that's sort of my background. So going into the mitochondria, if you can understand that the mitochondria is responsible for producing all our cellular energy. So all our cellular energy that we need to drive every bodily process, whatever it is, whether it's breathing, heartbeat, whether it's our immune system, our endocrine system, the hormonal communication in our body, whatever it is, our nervous system. So our nerve cells are sending electrical impulses all the time. They're also sending messages all the time. Millions upon millions of messages are being sent from cell to cell every millisecond. So as you can imagine, the mitochondria is responsible, if the mitochondria is responsible for generating that ATP, that cellular energy to drive our entire body, it's pretty important. So that's why I got into looking into this. So the mitochondria, inside the mitochondria, many biochemical processes happen there. And in that process, a waste product, a bit like a car kicking out exhaust fumes, free radicals are given off. Those free radicals, when they're not mopped up by antioxidants, they cause oxidative stress. So any disease you care to pick, whether it is depression, whether it's autoimmune, atherosclerosis, on, you could pick me any from A to Z, that is. And if you want to reverse disease and stimulate the body's own healing powers by aiding the mopping up of these free radicals, you're going to see an improvement in the health and the vitality. So this cellular energy, like I said, is important for all bodily processes. Oxidative stress is happening all the time, but we can slow the aging process and we can reverse oxidative stress with mopping up those free radicals. We can also bind and detox heavy metals. That this is obviously the next thing is detoxing, and that's what is part of looking after the mitochondrial health. We detox, and they're the solutions that I have, is detoxing, stimulating the immune system, and getting the body and brain to be able to communicate properly.
So those things, can I summarize them for people?
Sure.
So what you're saying is basically you gave us a description of where these kind of how we got to the current cell status that we're at the moment, and the explanation for the mitochondrial part of the cell. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Then through life, we basically produce oxidative, what do you call it? Is it oxidative stress?
Free radicals are produced.
Free radicals.
So in the
So you get the free radicals. So you have a cell, it gets full of free radicals in its creation of energy process. So it's basically creating its own dirt around itself.
Exactly, which is normal. It's normal.
We want to and then disease happens because the cells are absolutely, they're too dark. So you can see them, I guess, because on a screen, if you looked at them that way, because they would be darker, they wouldn't be as bright because they would be full of the oxidative stress. And you create a system which helps to clear that out, so the communication between cells is much clearer, and then the energy production is much more possible. It's not kind of slowed down and limited by how much oxidative stress is in there.
Exactly. Yeah. So you got it absolutely perfectly. Well done. I mean, it is, I'm trying to simplify it. Obviously, this is my life's work. So it is, and it's a lot of information for people to take on board who aren't biomedically trained or don't have that background. So I get that. So I try to give simple analogies, but you're essentially right. So all our food energy in the mitochondria is converted to cellular energy. In that process, waste products are produced, like a car making exhaust fumes, free radicals. They need mopping up. But there's more than two things, but one very important thing, one very important thing is that when we age, we kick out more free radicals. So past 30, when we're more into the aging process, we kick out worse free radicals and we kick out more. So it's an accelerating thing. So it's that's why we are on top of having pollutants in our environment and in our food, and let's just say our environment, for argument's sake. We need to detox. The biggest things are detoxing and boosting the immune system, because we're making unhealthy cells all the time. We have unhealthy cells that need to be killed off all the time by our immune system. Those cells can be helped with the process, the apoptosis, the natural killing off of unhealthy cells, is supported by what I do. So I use a heart rate variability machine, which is looking at the variability between each heartbeat. So again, heart maths, this is very popular in sporting environments and athletes and people that take their health seriously. Heart rate variability is a very wonderful way of looking at the nervous system in a non-invasive way. So it is looking at, is also taking an ECG. So you're looking at your heart health, you're looking at your brain health, you're looking at the way the body communicates to the brain. Remember, we're having those millions of messages sent every millisecond. So it's vital that we communicate properly, otherwise we're out of whack. And when the nervous system's out of whack, we can't absorb food from our nutrients from our food, we don't feel well, our immune system's down, our endocrine system's all out, so we don't feel good, we're not vital, we're not healthy. Burnout, so common. So many diseases are so common that are just the lack of communication between the brain and the body. So what I look at is faring and how much energy your mitochondria.
Did you say you look at how the immune system is faring?
Yeah, I can look at how much energy is being produced in the cell, so total power, and where that total power is being distributed. So whether it's going to rejuvenation and repair, whether it's activating the vagus nerve, whether we're aging too quickly, whether we're allowing that energy is being going to that area, or whether it's just going to get oxygen around our body. So when you see somebody with high amounts of their energy, a percentage of their energy just going to get oxygen around their system, you know they're aging too quickly, because that part of the nervous system hasn't been activated to send energy to repair and rejuvenation, because you're almost in emergency mode of getting oxygen around your system. Yeah.
Two questions. So the first one, you mentioned that basically when we get 30, which I knew, when we get over 30, then everything slows down and we produce more free radicals. And you said something else, but yes, I don't know what's wrong with me today. Monday.
Worse ones, yeah.
Yes. Fine. So worse ones, that's it. You produce more of the worst ones. So would you say, from my experience of menopause and helping people through menopause, they reach a point where literally their body is going, no, you will not drink that wine, you will not eat this, otherwise you're going to have a horrible you're going to feel like you really mentally unhinged, and you're just not going to be able to think straight. Would you therefore argue that we have a kind of even more kind of, we literally reach the limit when we hit menopause? That's my first question.
I'd say what is happening is that there's a lack of communication. So our hormones are out of whack, our endocrine system is out of whack. Not enough of our total power will be distributed to that, because you've aged and there's not enough oxygen going around the system. Obviously, that's the most important thing, is to get oxygen around your body in order to respire, make energy correctly. And what is going on is there's adrenal fatigue. So a lot of women are experiencing brain fog, they're depressed, they're anxious, the belly fat, the drying of the skin, the lack of sex drive. All these things are happening because the hormonal system is not working correctly. There's not enough energy going to that. But also, and this is the other bit that they'll be experiencing a lot, those free radicals have damaged proteins. So when we have wrinkles on our skin, it's the proteins being damaged by free radicals. So if we go back to the story of the free radical production, when those free radicals are left unchecked, i.e. not mopped up, they are going to be damaging proteins, changing shapes of them. Now, hormones are protein molecules that are shaped. They're a certain shape, and they need to fit into a certain receptor site on the other cell to be able to communicate. So that's how hormones communicate. They send a protein molecule from one cell to the other. Now, if that cell is if the receptor site is damaged through a free radical, i.e. it's been changed, the shape's been changed, it's like a lock and key. It won't work unless it's exactly the right shape and size. It won't work. So that free radicals damage that protein. therefore, of course, there's no communication. And that's what happens in women. And you see it, they're ballooning out of shape, they're getting fatter and fatter, they feel absolutely or they're putting away, they're feeling terrible, their brain fog is awful, they lose confidence naturally because it's a horrible position, they're not sleeping well at night because there's not enough energy going to the vagus nerve, which is stimulating the repair, rejuvenation and regeneration, so they're aging much quicker. It's like a vicious cycle. And when without enough sleep, you of course are feeling anxious, you're of course feeling unwell. The hot flushes, your body's trying to detox, because obviously the biggest organ to detox from is the skin. So you start sweating. That's why you can't tolerate alcohol, because of course that causes all sorts of, heightens the symptoms, makes it much worse, poisons you when you're already at your max, like you were saying. But there's, you know what, this is so interesting. So I had this conversation yesterday with a friend. I believe that women, when they stop their cycle, when they stop their bleed, they're actually coming into their own, their wisdom. The womb is a place of creativity. So, of course, should we say, some people may be not wanting women to be in their power, to put it very,
yes,
I don't know
well,
who that might be.
very gently put, but you mean there may be a, yes, some
There
people
could be
feel threatened
some
by
people,
this
shall we say.
enlivening, yes.
So actually, women are supposed to be actually look younger when they stop their periods. You're actually supposed to be thriving. This is not, but obviously the balance of hormones needs to be correct. So that's why in Japan you don't have the word menopause doesn't exist. The symptoms don't exist. They just don't know about it because they're having lots of the phytoestrogens. They've had it through all their life. The phytoestrogens from edamame beans and tofu and things like that. But you need quite a lot of those phytoestrogens, isoflavones, to stop your symptoms when things have got quite out of hand. But what I do can 100% put women back, and with my knowledge of what people need to take in that situation, because I have a lot of nutritional knowledge and I work with nutrition. I'm not a qualified nutritionist, but I am massively into nutrition. So I'm sprouting all my own seeds and nuts, and because you travel nutrients then, and I know all about nutrients and I grow all my own vegetables, and I know about all of this stuff, and my kids hear it all the time. They have to have this, everything's balanced. So I can safely give many people nutritional advice. There's another thing, ashwagandha is amazing for women in this situation because it's adrenal fatigue. Basically, it's burnout on top of the free radicals building up, on top of the oxidative stress, on top of poor nutrition and the lifestyle which expects a woman to go, be the career woman, be the beautiful wife, be the looking after the home, the beautiful cooking, the and it's just too much, and time is, you need to take care and nurture oneself. Okay, but it's difficult when you're having those nasty symptoms. I hope that was a long-winded way of asking.
No, but it covered some really interesting points, as these things always do. So the second question was, if you are a smoker, then, and you're talking about the fact that oxygenation of the body being one of the key kind of initial kind of priorities that the brain is going to make away from rest and rejuvenation and restoration, all of that, then that would explain why smokers look so haggard, because there's no kind of rest and recovery option available, because oxygenation has taken priority, because oxygenation has been compromised. So this business of vaping, because I know people that
God,
I don't smoke, but I vape and it's fine, and I'm THCs and and I'm just like, anything that goes in the lungs is going to compromise the body's ability to produce oxygen. It's just a fact, and you're heating up your brain. Absolutely. So it's just never going to be good. There's no good way of doing that.
There's no good way, but there's two things I wanted to mention. So the autonomic nervous system, and that's what I'm working with. That's the part of the nervous system that's controlling the unconscious processes. So the breathing, the digestion, the heartbeat, the getting the oxygen around the body, all the things we take for complete granted. So the homeostasis of one's body temperature, one's immune system, everything, on and on. So that part is divided into two branches, sympathetic and parasympathetic. Parasympathetic is the vagus nerve. That needs to be stimulated equally as the sympathetic does in order for us to digest our food, to sleep well, and to rejuvenate, repair, regenerate. And somebody who comes to me who says they're not sleeping well, immediately I'm like, alarm bells, because 20% of your total power, going back to the cellular production of ATP, is required to stay asleep. So the stimulation of your vagus nerve is keeping you asleep and restoring you and regenerating. 20%, so a fifth of your energy. So if someone says they're not sleeping well, that's a big sign you're not making enough total power. And one of the biggest problems I have with vape, so that's part of my cellular vitality and quantum medicine. But with the vaping, the most alarming thing is that they put propylene glycol in God knows what else is in that hideous juice or stuff they call vape in that's the biggest toxic. And of course, it's just another way of should we say, some very monopolized things. How do I put this?
Profiteering exercise rather than a kind of health and well-being exercise. The emphasis is on money making.
Exactly, it's profit making. And who on earth in their right mind, apart from a child, wants to smoke bubblegum vape? I mean, yeah, it's propylene glycol. They put that stuff in most products you would put on your skin, as you will well know, and they put it in the blue stuff you put in the car screen wash. It's super, super toxic for your liver, and your skin, being the biggest organ, obviously absorbs it all, and the lungs, well, the surface area is huge, you can imagine. Yeah, so obviously the free radical generation, as well as taking in toxic substances, and more our food and water is unfortunately polluted. So I'm massively into water as well, and alkaline water and structured water, because that is the way to also reduce oxidative stress, mop up those free radicals. And alkalize. If we're in an alkaline state, unhealthy cells can't live.
Yes, it's about,
and we can guess
prevention, isn't it? Really, it's creating an environment that is so clean that it doesn't kind of compromise. It doesn't allow things to grow, and that's basically how this form of medicine works, isn't it? Most of our forms of medicine actually are about kind of, not cutting things out or adding in extra. It's about creating the cleanest place so they can't survive, like the bad bacteria, the bad viruses, the disease. Only kind of good things can be, and that's why it's gentle. It's not kind of, destructive, and it doesn't cause harm on another organ or, process.
Yeah. And that's the reason I started working a long time ago with essential oils, because of them being cell specific. I know this is your topic. So they're cell specific, so you're not going to get side effects. And modern medicine is not cell specific, therefore you get side effects. And then those side effects need to be dealt with because they're often unpleasant, which tends to lead to something else, which allows on.
It's the monomolecular and polymolecular kind of medicine, isn't it? And I think, and when I describe essential oils as well, I use the same lock and key analogy. And I always think of like when children are playing with those boxes with different shapes cut out, and they've got to get the star in the star.
Yeah. Good analogy.
And the circle and the all of it, or the cylinder is like that kind of, on a very basic level, is what's going on inside the cells with kind of, what they'll receive into them to make them work better.
Absolutely. And I only work with natural things. I've only treated my children naturally. They've never been to the doctor. My eldest is 17, my youngest is 10, and they are, because I give them the nutrition and I treat them if they have something. I support their immune system by boosting it and detoxing them. As I know you know all about this. I also, so all my things are completely natural, all the things I recommend, and I also can demonstrate on my heart rate variability what the things I give you, how your body
they're
has
working.
improved. So I can.
Okay, so before you go into that, just explain briefly how it works. So if someone comes to you and says, right, I want to work with you, Arabella, what happens next? What's the actual treatment process?
So I would put a patient or a client onto a heart rate variability machine, which is just clamps or like electrodes on your, it's not painful or anything, around your wrists and around your ankles. And then I will run a heart rate variability test, which will tell me all sorts of information that I then analyze and talk you through and explain everything and say, oh, this percentage of your energy is going to getting oxygen around. You can see there's very little going to your prefrontal cortex, which we often have in autistic children. We will have lack of energy going to prefrontal cortex, and I'll see it on my machine. And I can then, with the supplements, I can redirect the amount of energy. I can increase the amount of energy, total power, and B, I can redirect it. And also, the stuff I work with is very cardioprotective and very neuroprotective. So anyone, I mean, it is kind of, it's like oil for the cell. So it's amazing. It's amazing, amazing stuff. And that is one thing I work with. There's different things I can offer. But that's essentially where I would start, with putting someone on the heart rate variability. And then I would offer out options of what we could do, depending on what is being shown to me. So then I make my conclusion, if you like. But because I work with people that are serious, you know, they have to be quite committed. And I say this to people, it's not, if you, it's like anything, this is a lifestyle thing to keep your health and vitality at the max. So that's what I'm working with. Someone, there does need to be commitment. There does need to be, you know, you can't just show up. It needs to be commitment on a daily basis. That you, so you really want to make lifestyle changes, and I'm really here to support you. I don't mind where you're at, but there has to be a level of commitment. And yeah, we can all fall off the bandwagon, that's fine. But I can offer all the solutions to diet, to things you can add in, natural solutions. So there's many things. And then my latest thing is working with bioresonance. So I also talk to people about water. There are videos that I'd want people to watch about what I do as well, because I'm finding a lot of people now are totally dehydrated. I can't even put them on the machine because I'm looking at electrical impulses. And it happened when I did I was giving back to the community, and I offered some discounted sessions. And during that, it attracted some people that had got hold of an advert that weren't really from my community, who tend to be more of people that understand about hydration and the importance of staying hydrated. And I couldn't run it was a bit of a wake-up call to going, right, certain people need to watch videos about what I've done in order to understand what's going on, in order to even be able to come for a test, because you do have to be hydrated. And I can give, there's very simple ways to be hydrated, and I talk a lot about Celtic salt and yeah. So I would ask people to, if they're serious, to look at some of the stuff I do, and I can send literature and the videos I've made. The importance of, obviously, when I'm doing the test, I'm looking at electrical impulses. That's why we need to be hydrated.
Okay.
So I hope that answers that.
Yes, it
Yeah.
does. Well, I was gonna wrap it up there. Was there something else you wanted to say?
I just wanted to say a bit about bioresonance, because like I said, I'm always looking at cutting edge medicine. I'm always looking at solutions and open-minded to things that come my way. And this kept coming up, and I bought myself 3 bioresonance devices. They're like handheld little, like an old Nokia phone size, and you just put them in your back pocket, or you can put them in a sock. And one detoxes you, one, the machine strengthens you, so it's sending frequencies back of a, so if you've got an unhealthy gut or you're suffering from depression, you can have, these are two examples I'm giving you, you have healthy frequencies of a healthy brain reflected back to you. In time, your mood will have elevated, your depression will have lifted. Same with the gut. So it's strengthening those organs, and it's the most convenient. You may have heard of Dr. Rife, who had the Rife machine, and
I have.
exactly. Oh, you have? Okay, well, there you are. Wonderful. So you know all about it. So this is like a very convenient way of using a Rife machine in your back pocket. So it will target, so kill off the fungus, the parasite, the virus, the break down the mercury.
It's using electromagnetic frequency, so it's creating a frequency which is for the right frequency for that to be healthy, and thus the wrong frequency for those other things to continue to flourish. So again, it's this gentle, it doesn't hurt. It's just, you know, it's reprogramming, because we're all made of energy. So it's like a frequency reprogramming.
Absolutely. We're all energy. Our etheric body is all energy, and we are absolutely energy, and that's all it is. It's just reflecting back. Well, my first machine is just like your Rife, the detoxing, I call it the detoxer. The second is the strengthening, so the strengthening of the organs, the tissues, and then the last one is energy. So as we were talking about the ATP and the right amount of energy being made in every cell, this device makes sure the voltage, the energy of the cell is kept up. It's very cool. I haven't made my conclusion as to whether the supplements I work with or this is more powerful or a combination. Again, I present these options to everybody because there's different costs involved, and there's different paths and lifestyles that they fit into, and so on, as you know. So I try to make, I give people advice because it's overwhelming, but the Energy 8 device is amazing. It can protect you from radiation as well. And that's what I work with a lot, protecting us from radiation.
You have to wear it for the rest of your life. I mean, these things, once you get them, do you buy them and then you wear them and that's it? You're wearing them every single day?
Well, for instance, when I fly, I will always use the programs that protect me from radiation, because obviously the flying, and also if I'm out and about, I mean, all the signal, all the EMF pollution we're experiencing is massive. It's absolutely massive. Hence the rise in cancer and all these other things. It's massive. So if you're someone who is suffering, and I would be able to tell from what information I take from you and the machines I use, I would recommend that. Like, everybody's different, but we are basically all suffering from it. So I can protect your DNA and I can protect your cells from the radiation with this device, and you just play it in your back pocket or in your bra or wherever you want to put it. It just stays close by you, and it's very low frequency EMF, which is likened to the frequency given off by the earth.
And how do you recharge it?
So it's got a little USB port that you just charge it. So if you wanted, so for instance, I got rid of all my Epstein-Barr, the underlying virus that was causing a lot of issues, my own health issues, which I've had thyroid issues, which I've gone into. I've treated everything. I had a benign thyroid cyst that I've got rid of with the device. So you can completely harmonized. I've got rid of all the mercury that was there from childhood vaccines. Yeah, can be from fillings, can be from there's a lot to discuss, but yes, you detox, and I wear it at nighttime to detox, and I use a strengthening one in the day, and then I use my energy one, so it gives energy and harmony. So it's harmonizing your cells so they can absorb all the nutrients from food, so you're at your best place. So I use all three, and I educate people about how to use them.
And how much does something like that cost, though?
So all three devices cost £1,500, but individually they're €560. So they're like the cost of a mobile phone, but way better for you.
Brilliant. All right, well, Arabella, you'll give us some details about that, and there'll be links in the information about Arabella to her website, contact details, everything. So if you've got any further questions, you can get in touch with
Please, I'm
Arabella.
really passionate about helping people. I got into all of this through my own adrenal burnout, fatigue. So I know I've been on lots of journeys myself, and I'm really happy to help people.
Yeah, absolutely. I think a lot of us are wounded healers that have basically walked the path before you so that we can help you through the path. So there's very much kind of, experiential wisdom here. Brilliant. All right.
Thanks
Well, thank you, Arabella,
so much.
for joining us. It's been brilliant and really, really informative. So I hope you viewers have really learned something today. Please like, subscribe, or leave any comments. We'd really love to hear from you. Take care.
Yeah, share with anyone that needs it. Thank you.
And I don't know why, but Spirit has decided that there's a pause on actually pausing the video, which is quite interesting. So I don't know what that's about. Spirit
More.
works in mysterious ways. It just doesn't want us to get off, Arabella, and I don't know why it would suddenly